So today we're going to talk about, will they hold them responsible for what happens next? Now, we are in a very interesting times right now, right? We have an open border. We have military-aged Chinese men coming across the border. We have military-aged men, period, coming across the border. And a lot of people, including myself, are on the line, right? So I stand in the middle because the next, whatever event happens next, guys, can easily be by the Chinese, by some clandestine Spanish terrorist group, or the United States government, right? So there's three possibilities in the attack, a physical attack that can happen next. Now, we are all open to the fact that a cyber attack is probably going to be the first thing to set everything off, because why would it be anything else, right? You have to weaken the state by cyber attack first. Also, you weaken the state by doing what you're doing now, and that's flooding us with the sick ideology that's out there, as per Yuri Bezmenov, who stated that this is how they were going to take down this country, by weakening our ideology, which has already happened, and then you could cyber attack us, and then physical attack. Now, is this a fear-mongering video? No, because out of those three things that could happen, one of them is bound to happen, and we already know that. We already know that something screwed up is coming our way, something screwed up is going to happen, and we just have to ultimately deal with it. So the question is, guys, if it happens, will they hold these people accountable? Now, my answer to that is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the United States government doesn't. It doesn't matter if the Chinese military men do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if any of these people do it, because how is that going to make a difference in how you prepare and how you respond to whatever happens next? The cause of it, yes, we would like to know. Curiosity always gets the better of us. We always, want to blame somebody. But during whatever event happens next, guys, it does not matter who did it. It doesn't. Because all it does is add to more anxiety that we don't need. And basically, guys, even if the U.S. did it, for example, people are going to blame the U.S. regardless, with no proof. People are going to blame the Chinese with no real proof. And people are going to blame the South Americans with no real proof. And maybe even the Russians at some point, again, with no real proof. There's going to be speculations, there's going to be finger pointing, but there's going to be no proof. So now, knowing all of that, why would we take part in the blame game when all we need to do next, guys, is prepare? Now, yes, there is the thought process that we should know who caused it, because whatever attack, physical attack, comes our way, we need to identify who the perpetrator is. But again, the perpetrator are going to be those who are seemingly, or who want to take this country down, and who are going to attack this country in full force. I do not believe, guys, that our American military is such a military that will take part in this game. And some of them will, but not many. And that's the beauty of the American military. There's so many people in it that would follow orders, but then there are people in it who wouldn't follow orders. So the military in itself will have its own coup, its own problems, and they're going to have to deal with that. But if you have the Chinese and their military wreaking havoc in this country, then we know who to go after. If you have the South American military, whatever it is, wreaking havoc, we know who to go after. And even then, guys, the American military who wants to destroy this country, they're going to have their own symbol, their own flag, if you will. They might not hide amongst our military, or they might. But regardless of what happens next, guys, what happens next, it doesn't matter who caused it. The only thing that matters is how we respond. This is why we prepare, right? The millions of YouTube channels out there that try to scare you on a daily basis. There are two channels that I started to follow, but quickly unfollowed them when I saw their bullshit. One guy, I think his name is something Humphrey, Patrick Humphrey, and another guy this is John, whatever, Saberhole, or whatever the fuck his last name is. And both of those guys keep telling us that this is going to happen in 10 days, this is going to happen in 14 days, and then all of these events come and go. One of them, I forgot which channel, was stating that New Yorkers are going to starve to death. And I get it, guys. They're doing it for points. They're doing it for money. But there are too many channels that are scaring us into this belief that the war is going to break out tomorrow and that we're all going to die. There are too many people that believe that nuclear war is going to happen tomorrow. Now, nuclear war is probably inevitable. That's without a doubt. But again, guys, if that happens and you're in a safe zone per se, because you're not near any major city or not near any major military constellation or base, rather, sorry. If you're not near any of that and you're in a safe zone, you're good to go. The rest of us, let us worry about that shit. And if a nuclear attack does happen, such is life, man, then I'm dead, right? Obviously, getting out of the city is my game plan for the end of this year. But still, if it happens between that period, guys, it doesn't fucking matter. And if I survived a nuclear attack, it doesn't matter who did it. The only thing that matters is that I get my family and some of my friends out of here, and we get somewhere where we can thrive and live better. And then after everything is said and done, then we can sit there and point fingers. But until then, you got to make sure, guys, that everything is squared away first before you start getting in on the blame game, before you start getting in on the conspiracy theory game. And I love conspiracy theories, you guys know this, but it doesn't matter, right? With 9/11, people are like, oh, it was, it was the United States. And some people were like, it was bin Laden. Doesn't matter. Look where we are now. The blame game really doesn't, it's like being blamed and then your wife blaming you or accusing you of cheating with no proof. Especially if you're not doing it. But there's no proof of you cheating, but she keeps blaming you on a day-to-day basis, or accusing you, rather, sorry. It's the same thing, guys. That's all we're doing right now. We're making these obnoxious accusations with no proof. It's 5:30 on a Sunday afternoon, 3:30 on a Sunday afternoon, and I'm stuck in traffic. I hate this fucking city with a passion. Anyway. What happens next, guys, is it's going, like I said before, it's going to be nothing short of a nightmare. It is going to be scary. But you don't need to add to your anxiety about who did it. You don't need to add to the taken away thought process of who did it. You need to focus on your family and your preps, and you need to continue to get ready. That's it. That's all we can do. As far as what happens next, whatever false flag event happens next, it does not matter. If our country is doing these things, guys, we are undoubtedly going to see a civil war. If it's not our country and it happens to be the Chinese, we're going to see the greatest war this planet has ever seen. That's what it comes down to, guys. It comes down to shit like that. People fail to realize that playing the blame game is a waste of time. That's all it is. Again, we could theorize. You might have a short conversation, but sitting on YouTube or whatever it is, screaming and yelling about who's causing this, doesn't fucking matter. It is not going to change what happened. And that's why I'm a big fan of, like, if something happens and people are like, but they caused this. I'm like, is it going to change the fact that this person's dead? Is it going to change the fact that this person's dead? No. So it doesn't fucking matter, right? The only thing that matters is that we try to get hold of this country. We try to get a hold of this country, and we do our best to weed out the evil. And the only way to weed out the evil, guys, is through civil war. That's the only way to do it. I don't see any other way of doing it. Now, you have the world elites who are definitely taking part of this game. That's a separate issue altogether, and that's going to take some time and some fucked up shit to do to get them, first of all, smoked out and then handled. But anyway, other than that, guys, it doesn't matter what happens next. Not that it doesn't matter what happens next. It doesn't matter who does it. Just continue to prepare. Continue to stay focused. Don't fall into the trap with the other channels blaming the United States or possibly blaming China. Now, listen. We can play the game of who's doing it now, right? We could talk about it till we're blue in the face now. But when it happens, whatever event happens next happens, it does not matter who did it, right? We could sit here and say the Chinese are massing a military troop. We could, because you could sound the alarm to more people looking at it from that lens. You can definitely start saying that the Venezuelan gangs are building up a military of their own to start taking over cities as we are seeing them do now. That's fine. You're bringing awareness to it. But when it happens, that's when it doesn't matter anymore. And the only thing that matters is your family, your safety, and focus. That's all that matters. All right, guys, other than that, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.